And Andy would be just protected and would get hurt.
You can't ever repeat it.
You're-
Okay, I'd like to call the Village Hebron Combined Council Committee meeting to order. I would like to ask you to stand for a pledge of allegiance if you could. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which is the republic, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Wheeler.
Here.
Mr. Giovanni.
Here.
Mr. Carpenter.
Here.
Mr. Nauer.
Yep.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
I'd like to acknowledge the visitors here tonight. Are there any visitors' comments? Okay, moving on. The next item is the department heads report. Tonight we had Water Superintendent Jason Figgins to provide this report to council.
Good evening. This thing on?
Is it on?
Yeah. Push the button.
It's red. You have to hold it until it turns green. I think you turned it off.
It's cold.
There it is.
There it's green.
Is that green? Testing 1, 2.
Yep. You can just come back more often.
Good evening, everybody. I know everybody got a copy of my report because I just handed them out. A little change in pace of what I've done historically, during the council, reports. I typically have, a little bit more of a visual with some pictures and things like that. I thought I'd try something a little bit different this time. Focusing more along the lines on maintenance operation, compliance, and just any other noteworthy activity that's not trying to show accountability for the time between reports, if that makes any sense to everybody. So I'm just gonna not actually read, but I'm gonna go down through, and these are kind of bullet points with some descriptions, so not everybody has to take notes. We're gonna start off with the water treatment, quality and regulatory compliance section, which is number 1. And this is just basically a section that says, that the facilities were operating in the Ohio EPA regulation and guidelines. Everything was met consistently. All of our water parameter goals, water quality parameter goals were met consistently. And that our treatment chemicals levels and supply chains are stable at this time. I know those are just very broad, vague statements, but those are some of the things that I hadn't typically reported in the past. If anybody has questions, please feel free to interrupt. The next section is the regulatory compliance side. And this is where all state and federal regulations met between reporting periods. The Ohio EPA issues the village a license to operate certificate, which is, it's green. And it basically stipulates that the village can openly operate this water system unconditionally without any special requirements. Item number 2 under this was Ohio EPA Division of Drinking and Groundwater's laboratory certifications survey. This is a process that we go through every 3 years where the agency comes in, they do a site inspection, they evaluate our documentation, make sure our lab reagents are current, not expired, and that our policies, procedures, and actions with the analytical equipment, that we're basically using the instruments correct, and that we're giving them good information when we do our monthly operating reports. Alongside of that is the certification of the analysts. So I'm happy to report Cody, who's our newest employee, was successfully demonstrated acceptable levels of performance and proficiency and holds a full laboratory analyst certification. So that's kind of the highest level that we can get in our lab here at the water plant. So that means that the person can not only do the daily analysis, but they do the monthly standardization, all the weekly quality control, quality assurance samples and analysis. Or the lab reagents, just things like that. So now that means Cody, Sean, and Rich hold full certifications. I hold only an operational certification. Would you guys like to know why? Anyways, so each analyst has to be in the lab a certain amount of time every month. To hold a full certification, there's only so many weeks in a month. Too many fully certified people would be tripping over one another to do the standardization, calibration, and those policy or those procedures. So I only have an operational, so I'm just basically certified to do the daily analysis only, and that's just because I cover the weekends. We have plenty of redundancy with our lab analysts. But what our laboratory is certified to run is alkalinity, chlorine residuals, fluoride concentrations, total hardness, pH, and stability alkalinity. Any questions about that section? The next section is the compliance monitoring and sampling. So there was no violations reported or that we needed to report during this reporting period. Average chlorine levels that we measured at the plant tap are shown here, 0.9 part per million. Our goal is 1, but plus or minus 10%. Distribution is actually a little bit higher, so it's closer to 1, 0.96. Our average fluoride levels that we measured at our plant tap was 1.03 parts per million, respectively in the distribution system 1.01. Our goal is 1.00. I don't think it can get any better than that. We have to quarterly monitor arsenic because we have a naturally occurring arsenic level in our groundwater source. It's not due to any pollution or anything, it's just there. This last third quarter's result was 2 parts per billion, which is well below the 10 part per billion limit. Nitrate was another sample that we ran back in June, actually, 2.36 parts per million. Disinfection byproducts. This is a fairly new rule to our industry, a regulation that they passed, and this is basically the byproduct of chlorine reacting with organic matter. But our TTHMs, which I'm really not going to try to pronounce and to everybody, but it's an acronym, and HAA5, that's halicylic acid 5. Those results came back respectively, as you can see in my report, well below maximum contaminant levels and limits. And now I guess the flavor of the month, lead copper. So Hebron is on a 3-year or what they call triennial monitoring schedule. And we have a siting plan of, we have up to, I think we have a total of 20 sites now. And every 3 years, we have to basically drop off containers with instructions to the residents and ask them to first draw after the water sets in their lines for 6 hours. Then we collect those containers back, send them to our contracted laboratory. They analyze it, send us the results back, and we just have to report in our consumer confidence report the 90th percentile of copper found and the 90th percentile of lead found. Lead, we have to go a little further with the lead results. We have to actually, once we have the results in hand, we have to hand deliver a letter stating to the sampler and the resident what their lead levels were from their sample. And that's a complete requirement. And we have to send in a signed affidavit to the agency that we did distribute those letters. Go ahead, you have a question?
Yeah, I do have a question, on the lead that. I would have thought that a municipal system would have an even amount of the chemicals and the lead and the copper throughout the system, but that's erroneous. I'm not right on that.
So this is where it can kind of get very twisted and trying to explain. So lead and copper are both naturally occurring elements in the
Yeah.
Earth's crust. We don't remove it, nor do we monitor it from our raw source. We're led to believe by theory that the water quality that we provide to customers has a direct influence on the type of plumbing that they have inside their homes and what is in the ground serving, their houses. 1986 is whenever they began to ban lead solder. So you couldn't use any lead solder in any of the copper sweat fittings, which is, sweating copper fittings together anymore is a thing of the past. Everything now's crimped. One step further in the, probably 12 years ago, they went to the no lead standards. So no brass, no solder, nothing can have any traces of lead in any plumbing to seek that NSF approval. So the water quality, the stable water that we are providing our residents is not eating away at the outer walls of the older pipes and fittings that are in the ground and in people's homes, nor is it coating. It's just neutral. So that's why we don't see large amounts of lead show up in these samples.
So every other house could have a degree of lead and copper in the water. Is that right?
Could, yes,
Yeah.
but not close to the action limit, or in our maximum contaminant level, but yes. It is possible. Everything that you can read on the back of a Centrum multivitamin bottle is an element or a mineral in the
Yeah,
Earth's crust.
Yeah, I understand
And lead actually used to be in Centrum. Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, because speaking out of ignorance, what do I know about water and its treatment? But I just think it's kind of fascinating to know that the water is not necessarily evenly distributed by the quality of, I don't want to say quality either, by the content of the water.
Yes.
That's really an eye opener because I could have water different from you and so forth, and I didn't realize that.
I've experienced and seen instances where folks have had water softeners
Yeah, I
Um,
imagine.
actually that are misadjusted and they're actually making the water too soft, which makes the water very aggressive because water likes to seek its most equilibrium state, not only by physicality, but by chemistry. And where copper pipes that were almost 8 in 2, paper thin, just because of the water attacking the inside walls, trying to become stable. So basically what I'm trying to say is that our treatment process provides a neutral, not aggressive nor scale forming water quality that doesn't attack the outer walls or the inner walls of the piping in our network in the ground, nor in our residents' homes. That's the best overview statement I can
That's
give
really
you.
pretty interesting to me because I just assumed, which is a problem, but who would have thought it was different from, or could be different from one facility to another, including residents. But then you have your businesses and you have all of that, and that's really kind of amazing, and I just didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, we're well below the lead and copper limits. And all this go ahead, sir.
Jason, do you want to update the council in terms of PFAS, for the chemical? What is coming down from the state and the federal?
I sure can.
Yeah.
I actually did not include that in my report. That's very good. PFAS, is everybody familiar with what PFAS is? Okay, PFAS is an acronym for polyalkali
Something.
floral substances, something along those lines. It's called, in short, a forever compound or chemical.
Mhm.
It's so stable that it cannot be physically broke down by Mother Nature or anybody. There's been studies out that are talking about it being, causing health problems. Teflon, DuPont has been named in the PFAS conversations. Anything with Teflon or nonstick from back in the seventies, eighties, probably maybe as late as the nineties. Practically everybody's been in contact with this compound. They've set such low limits, the federal government set such low limits on PFAS. We're trying to measure concentrations in water in the parts per trillion.
Yeah.
Which is almost unfathomable to think. I couldn't even give you a good analogy of what parts per trillion actually would stand for.
And how do you identify it at that small concentration?
Well, so I'm back in my report under general notes. I talked about a compliance workshop that I went to.
Yeah,
a
I
lot
saw
ago.
that lot.
So it was actually one of the talking points of laboratories struggling to get the equipment to get to that low parts per trillion detectable availability or limit. We're basically in the initial, we're not in the initial stage, we're in the preliminary stage of monitoring. So right now, we have until December of 2026, I believe, to get 2 sets of samples to look for PFAS in our entry point, which is at the water plant. They have to be several months apart, and those results have to be available by the federal government's guidelines in detectable amounts for the 2027 Consumer Confidence Report. That was a mouthful, I know. Did anybody even understand what I just said? So basically, we have to have results of a preliminary round of monitoring ready for the 2027 Consumer Confidence Reports.
Is there anybody around here that's got the capability of doing that?
The only ones that I know of, I don't know of any municipal laboratories. They're all private contracted laboratories.
Okay.
Well, the reason I brought it up is that this is coming. It's a matter of time. So we need to share this information with the council in case that we had to do something in terms of upgrading the lab equipment, those kind of things. Yep.
Yeah, we don't, the only thing we do in our laboratories that we're certified to do is just wet chemistry and electrodes. Electromagnetic measuring. Go ahead, sir.
I was just gonna ask you,
Sure.
is it understood what lab equipment or technology would be needed that these private labs have that we?
That we don't have or can't get.
Yeah, we don't at this point in time, really.
We wouldn't pursue getting certified for
Yeah.
PFAS.
Yeah.
We did actually, the agency did an initial round of monitoring. I want to say it was in our source wells back in 2021, I want to say. And they found there was no detection in parts per billion. Parts per billion.
Now we're doing another.
Federal government wants it in parts per trillion.
Mhm.
So yes, we've actually reached out to our contracted lab, who is Massi out of Dublin. And we actually have a set of bottles to begin the monitoring process. So they're ready to go.
Have we contracted with them at all?
We contract with them since,
The
The
name
70s, I
is
believe.
familiar. That as soon as you said that, I recognized the name.
yeah,
You probably see them on every list of bills.
Hebron
That's why.
has relied on Massi Laboratories on the drinking water side for many, many years.
How does water chemically react with cast iron, like frying pans?
Can you be more specific? Like,
Well, you're gonna fry an egg in a cast iron pan, and then you're gonna wash it out perhaps.
Mhm.
Is there any contamination between that reacts with the iron in the cast iron that changes it chemically to make it inaccurate, or should say, to use?
so
If you
I'm
have,
gonna answer with no, because the water that you would draw from the tap to wash that cast iron pan is a roughly 8.5 pH, which is on the basic side
Yeah,
of the,
please.
yeah, so it's not going to eat away at the ferric material in the cast iron.
I don't mind if it eats away the ferric material in a cast iron, if it eats away from me, I might be unhappy.
Yep, the only thing that the water would be adversely affected on cast iron is probably rust, just by oxidation.
Cause you make a pot of stew or whatever it is, you're gonna put some water from the tap,
Well, yeah.
most likely.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering what the interaction between that iron content triggered probably chemically by the water. Don't know
I
that.
honestly don't have a
likely.
good answer for you on that. I don't honestly know.
Just curious.
With what she's saying, is there a lot of ductile pipe?
You're really asking me to reach down on my bag of knowledge. I wanna say we're, of the 27.5 miles of main, we have probably 50+6% ductile.
What I was
25%.
saying about the cast iron, that's the only thing come to mind to me is having the ductile.
Well, the difference in ductile iron is that's cement lined.
Yeah.
So that water doesn't actually truly come in contact with the iron or the ferric material of the pipe.
But when it does, the rust is like non-existent for the fact you don't have much air in there to make it rust.
Make sure it's dry. Okay, thanks.
Yep, well. Any other questions on the laboratory? Next section, I'll just kind of go through very quickly. This is the water production, distributed and demand data. And I have a hyphen out to the right of above average. And I'll explain to you why as we go down through this, but the first, number one under C is, this is the raw groundwater that we would draw from our source that's treated, and I have it broken down as during this period of time of this report and year to date. So just shy of 73 million gallons of water, total in this time period of between June and the 10th of October. Bringing our year-to-date total of about 155 million gallons is what we've taken out of the ground. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Average daily volume 598,000. Year-to-date 568,000. So we're still teetering right around that 32 to 35% of capacity figure that our system is capable of actually making per day. Number two is the finished water side. So this is going to be the water that is withdrawn from the ground and also water that's already been treated to make and to treat the water coming from the ground. Did everybody follow that? So we have to take water in that we've already treated to treat the water we're taking from the ground. Again, 75, just a little under 76 million gallons, 162 million for the year. Number three is information I got from the MuniLink billing system. The total amount of metered and billed consumption, just within that June to October period of time, almost 60 million gallons of water has been billed. 128 million year to date. Which brings me to number four, which is probably one of the, I guess, topics that I've never really brought to council to talk about, and that is the unaccounted for demand, consumption, and non-revenue loss. And so the total volume of unaccounted for water. Now this doesn't mean that we have leaking pipes and broken fire hydrants. This just means that this is water that we have sent away from the treatment plant into the water towers and into the distribution system that we have not been able to account for through a customer meter or a meter that is used to track usage only. Does that make sense?
So where to go?
That's what I was gonna say, where to go?
So we have services that are not metered.
It went in the creek.
pains me to say this, but the water plant's one of them. Water plant's one of them.
Fire department?
Our department, this building,
Mhm.
sewage treatment plant, or I'm sorry, water reclamation facility.
In the creek,
Who?
in the creek,
I think we fixed that.
Well, that, yeah, we fixed that one.
that was a big.
I'm gonna get to that one, it's on down here. We've made efforts though to try to capture as much water that is not billed, and that's at the parks. So the softball diamonds on Canal Road, Evans Park, the football, soccer and baseball fields are all metered. We meter the hydrant that's over in the green space at, High and Main Street. And we also meter the, yard hydrant that's down at the shelter house at Canal Road. So I mean, we're making those efforts.
So does the, drought that we suffered through this summer, does that play a part in this as well somehow?
Perhaps, I would say that majority, without looking at the scientific data, majority of it is probably through unmetered pipe networks. So not only do we have the public buildings, but we have, last count, what, 46 industrial buildings out here, some commercial, some of them are in town, most of them outside of town, that have fire suppression systems that are not metered. I mean, you're talking about systems that have as small as 6-inch diameter taps to 10-inch diameter taps, unmetered. Has never been metered.
When we sell water.
Mhm.
And we do.
Mhm.
Would that be cause for curiosity that maybe there's some, water usage that we're not aware of?
Would you please repeat your question?
Yeah, if there is sale of water
Mhm.
to, customers out, really outside the village limits. Is there any possibility that there is water being used that we are not aware of and is not metered?
Yes.
Well, that's
Yes.
a good answer, there you go.
Yes, there is. We have caught a couple different facilities using water from their privately owned fire hydrants that are on private property that are not metered. Which is an abuse. It's an abuse of the service available to them. Because they don't get charged, they get charged for fire suppression service per se. And we've been very cordial talking to, site management, and, explain to them the reason why. I mean, to them, it's a receptacle where water's available. Why drag out 200 feet of hose if I can drag 20 feet out and hook onto this fire hydrant right here that they know is theirs, that they know that they have to keep up its. Pardon?
If you know that has happened,
Mhm.
then what happens? Are there any penalties?
No,
Oh,
nothing I'm aware of.
should there be?
Absolutely.
How are we gonna do it? Aren't you glad? Aren't you glad?
I love a challenge. It needs to be addressed. Yes. We have a short list of spots, that we keep close tabs on, as close to tabs as possible. And I think this last time we went around, we expressed our, so where I'm looking for it.
Pleasure,
Pardon?
displeasure.
Not only that, but that we were serious about their actions of what they're doing. And actually used, terms that, you hate to say theft, but I mean, it's theft. It is. It really is. But we keep as close a tabs as we can on. Comes down to also too, I mean, it's not as simple as, well, let's just put a meter in, because some of these buildings and some of these services, there's nowhere to put a meter, nowhere. If you could squeeze a meter in, you're not gonna be able to get the proper links for accuracy. So there's no point wasting the money if you're not gonna be able to accurately measure. You understand what I mean?
It may cost as much to do that as to, pay for the usage
Yeah.
of all our water that
Yeah.
we're not paying for.
Sounds like to your point, though, from what it is, it's an abuse of something that should be used appropriately for fire suppression, for example. Understandably, it's not something that can be metered, but there should be a penalty, punishment for those that decide to abuse that, to discourage such practice.
And that's true, I agree with you, but there's also this thing called relationships between your employers. The people who pay the taxes, who pay here, and how many times can you nip their heels, and aggravate them? Cause they also wield some kind of a hammer, and we don't know what we would assess them. Before you have a bill, you have to have an amount, and that's the hard part.
Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything with it.
We want to elaborate, and that is during plan approval on new developments that are requiring fire suppression systems, we are mandating backflow devices and meters. And those meters only are built on water that is used without the sewer service on the backside of it, obviously, because what you can prove without reasonable doubt that it's not going to water reclamation. Fortunately enough, we've not had to visit that, okay. So if we have a customer that has an emergency that needs a large quantity of water to suppress fire or for whatever other reason, about how we would adjust their utility bill to accommodate that. Again, because fire suppression is a free service that our system offers. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But at least we're able to account for, the leaking fixtures and, even the fire pump tests and sprinkler tests and things like that. We're able to account for that water. Whether we bill for it or not, I mean, that's an elected official decision in a sense,
I think I'm looking at the instances of which I'm beginning to imagine where it's more intentional, meaning someone doesn't want to pay for that water and they're trying to bypass the meter by using something abusively
Mhm.
to not have to pay for it. It's one thing if it's incidental as part of operation or for the purpose of what it is needed for, that it's not metered. It's another thing entirely if someone is trying to circumvent paying for it just because they don't want to.
So to build on that, the short list of sites that we keep close tabs on. Staff and I don't believe that it's an intentional practice, that it's more of a convenience to them because of accessibility. Where we see more tampering and potential theft is on the smaller meter side, the residential meter sides. That's where we see the most tampering, the most potential of theft. Silly things like homeowners putting in their ice makers before the meter. Just because that's their refrigerator's closer to where the meter, or further away from where the meter sets. You got that lead of pipe that comes into the house. They don't know any different. I mean, I really don't think a lot of people really understand that they're doing it the way that they are, but there have been some instances where it's like, dude, this was intentional. You're gonna have to tell me, I mean, really defend how you came to putting this contraption in place of where your meter's put to go,
So then I guess to that question, or leads to my question on that point, of all the things that you see, relative ballpark, what percentage would you say is truly intentional? Meaning they knew what they were doing, they didn't want to pay for it. Versus ignorance.
I'm gonna say probably less than 10%.
Okay.
Less than 10%.
Okay.
And definitely that is the topic Jason and I will have more down the road. And the other thing is, Jason, if I can ask you this,
Sure.
based on the consumption and usage, have you seen the trend from last 2-3 years? whether it's continue to grow or stabilize or decreasing as far as demanding on the water.
Overall.
Yep.
Demand,
That's quite.
it's. It's been tough to trend over the last 5 years because. Of a couple instances of where we had water running. At an unmetered service in a public building for months and months and months.
Yep.
Inadvertently, mistake.
Yep.
In 2 years, this is the second year that we've actually seen drought type conditions during the adult days of summer. Those are gonna be obvious peaks of any trend. I will say that the billing system that we went through and audited a couple of years ago and doing the quality control and quality assurance checks to make sure everybody was getting billed and getting billed properly has in my opinion, what has cut down a lot on production. People are being a lot smarter with their water use patterns. You know, they're not letting the sprinkler route you run for 4 hours, it's only maybe an hour and a half. I mean, silly things like that add up, you know. But to answer your question, I mean, it's been tough to trend because it's so salty. I've tried to put some analytics to it. Too many variables.
Interesting.
I mean, obviously, the production and demand has to go up the more that we're adding services. You know, we got 2 big developments that are one under construction and one that's going through the plan approval process. Those are obviously going to make production pick up. So anyway, all that being said, to get off this kind of odd subject, I guess. We're teetering between 16 to 70% unaccounted for water. Again, not necessarily leaking pipes and hydrants, just more unmetered service usage. The AWWA recommends that you be 10% and below. I don't know any water system that's 10% and below, also. I mean, no municipal system. The Ohio Administrative Code set a regulatory limit though of 15%. You're not supposed to be over 15%. If you're over 15%, you're not going to qualify for any funding. Anybody, any other questions on that? Maintenance and operation. There's 4 key, I guess, talking points in this section of plant activities. Well, number 4, we had to take out a service. Staff went up and did their daily checks one day and happened to notice brass shavings coming up from the seal pre-lubrication system, indicating that we've got excessive wear on a shaft. What we had found is the solenoid valve that supplies the water that cools these brass bushings has failed. And we also noticed a slight vibration. So now we're gonna have to have a contractor come in, pull the pump, investigate why, what happened, and make the repairs. Wellbore is one of our deeper wells. It's a little better water quality, doesn't take as much chemicals, and the treatment plant seems to respond better to it. So right now we're running well 5, which is a little shallower. So we're using a little bit more chemicals. I don't know, has anybody noticed any discoloration in their sinks and okay?
Just a smell,
Pardon me?
They say there's
Smell.
no.
Chlorine, yeah.
and it's
We gotta have-
last week.
Oh, yeah, last week, late last week, or like Saturday-ish.
I don't-
Okay. Oh, next report, I'll have an update for that. More along the lines of not an update, but here's what we did, this is what we had to do, this is how we fixed it, so on and so forth. We have monies budgeted in operating funds for things like this. I'm gonna skip over number 2 for a moment. Solids contact reactor number 1, we have taken out of service also, to do its annual preventive maintenance, cleaning, evaluation, so on and so forth. Our new SCADA server hardware is on order, and I could actually honestly change the wording in this. It has been deployed with the new Windows 11 Pro software. So it's fully up and functioning. It was put online last Friday. Chlorine feed system issues. It's funny you brought chlorine up. So one of the challenges that we have operating the treatment plant to make sure that we're adding and dosing the finished water with enough chlorine to sanitize is the unfortunate reality of what I'm gonna call the flow train. So we have 3 separate compartments and tanks that water, after it's chlorinated, has to travel through before we get it to our analyzer that trends the chlorine residual on our SCADA system. You guys follow what I'm saying at all? Okay. The unfortunate reality of it is the volume of that train is close to 350,000 gallons. So by the time the analyzer tells us that our residuals are low, there's 300,000 gallons of water that is underdosed, or that doesn't show the chlorine residual that our goal is to meet and what we have to have minimum for the state regulation. We have a system that was implemented, and it's called the emergency system. So we know that we put enough chlorine in, it's just not been enough to show a residual. So we have this emergency system that puts more chlorine on top of the water that's being pulled out of the clear well going to the tower. That we watch, it's all manual operation, and it's only for a temporary emergency situation. The reason I put this on here is because the unfortunate reality of this is we had an instance back in August where we had to stay over on overtime because at the very end of the day, we were monitoring how much chlorine we were feeding from our tank, and we weren't seeing the residuals coming up through the analyzer. So we had to stay after and operate the manual pump. And one of my staff, inadvertently, as he was changing some doses on the SCADA screen, accidentally hit a button that took the system from pacing it on the amount of flow that is going through the system into manual that constantly feeds no matter how much flow is going into it. So once the towers got full, pump shut off, the system continued to feed chlorine. The reason I bring this up to you is because this could have been a catastrophic event. I laugh awkwardly. It's not funny. This could have been a catastrophic event where we would have had to issue do not use orders if we would have tripped that maximum contaminant level for chlorine residual of 4 parts per million. And we were close. We were 3. Now that's kind of swimming pool chlorine levels. Which is why, I mean, when you get levels like that high in the water, you can certainly smell it. And as luck may have it, it was caught. It didn't make it all the way to the towers. We caught it before it got to East Cumberland and South High Street. So we had to stop everything and we had to pull all that water back. So we had to pull it all back, and then unfortunately we had to dispose of it down the storm drains through hydrants and things of that sort.
That is unaccounted.
That's unaccounted. That is also unaccounted for water. That's exactly
Absolutely.
right. Exactly right. Pardon me. It's okay. I know I'm talking a lot.
I'm saying I'm good with that. If that's unaccounted for.
Yeah, in that instance, it's a no-brainer, but it was just an unfortunate reality of a mistake. Late at night, somebody was tired, didn't pay it that close of attention. It wasn't caught till after the fact. Fortunately, we avoided that problem. So that's why I wanted to mention it last. Does anybody else have any questions about that
I
particular
don't have
instance?
any questions about it, but I do have a comment, and I'm impressed that it was caught and rectified and life goes on.
Yeah, nobody would have known about it. I mean, it's obviously in our plant logs.
It happens.
It does happen. It does happen. One little mouse click was I mean, that's, honest to goodness is what it was. You guys wanted this meeting to go on longer, right? So I'm good talking all this time. Okay, I'm just making sure. Item B under maintenance and operation. We had 4 total service disruption events since June. And they are listed below. 105 Sands, which actually was a service tap to 106 Sands across the street. Degraded fastening hardware on a tap. I'm sure you guys obviously everybody's seen out here by the Duke Station, the nice, square asphalt out there. We had 2 valves that needed repair there. Again, corroded bolts. Causing it to leak. We had a service tap pulled out of the main as part of the culvert addition project down on Broadway. That actually happened on a council meeting night, I believe. Basically, the ditch caved in and happens. The last one is on Reliance Drive. We had a service valve to Brentag that they wanted their water shut off so that they could do some piping retrofitting on their fire system. Started operating the valve, water started coming up through the box. Stop, we gotta fix this before we can shut you off. Any questions on those?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
well, I was down there when you did the one on Sands Drive, and it made me think that you've got probably 5 other houses on there, it's got about the same time period as that one was tapped. Is there any preventive maintenance on any of that, or?
Unfortunately, it probably is not worth doing even an exploratory investigation because of the age of the main and the infrastructure. It's a capital project that needs done. And the type of pipe, which is transite. The silver lining in Sands Drive incident was at least we helped Public Works trace their stormwater system from all the way to dead end, all the way down to the culvert, which Mr. North, thank you for finding that for us.
Oh,
We never would have found it.
Bill's in
because-
the mail.
I mean, it took us a week with leak detection equipment to actually pinpoint where to dig. There wasn't anywhere wet, but it was a bunch of water. Thank you again.
On the bolts that they're putting in on Sugar and all down through there, they look like they're just zinc coated.
They are not. They are 304 grade stainless steel.
They're stainless, okay.
When we go through and do any sort of valve bonnet replacement bolt wise, we use 3/16 grade stainless steel, which is the best grade that you can get. It won't corrode. This was a.
Stainless will corrode, but it's a certain type.
Yeah, yeah. This has high cobalt and another metal in it that makes it very corrosion resistant.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what we use. We don't even use the 304. You 304 probably be okay, but for the money, yeah, fix it once.
No, I assume you change all the bolts on there when you do that.
Yes. Yeah, we actually last December did the 2 ups at Cumberland and Sands Drive. Yeah, you remember that, don't you? Yes. This is a problem, a manufacturer's defect. Long story short, when AWB changed their standard, they went from ductile iron and cast iron bodies and bonnets to epoxy coated bodies and bonnets. They didn't take into consideration the electrolysis between the epoxy coating and the zinc bolts that the specification stipulated. So anything that was put in between, I think it's 1993 and 2003 is subject to failure. How many waterline projects did Hebron do in the 90s? I mean, there was a bunch. All West Main Street, all East Main Street, all the way down to Buckeye.
no,
The 16-inch coming from the water plant through Lake Forest.
They're gonna be.
It's gonna turn into it'll turn into a capital project, just doing an evaluation and then replacement as needed. I'm pretty sure. Any other questions about that? I'm gonna skip C also.
Jason.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
From what I'm understanding then, I guess, going back to that point of unaccounted water.
Mhm.
is it possible that then, depending on the piping, there's undiscovered leaks? As I'm hearing from some of the materials that are used in different sections.
It is possible. Highly unlikely because of the clay content in the ground. Typically, the water, whenever you have a leak, comes to the surface. Unless you have granular backfill and pipe bedding where it can travel horizontally. The older pipe was put in without any granular material. It was typically restored with the native material it took out. Do you understand what I mean by that? So when they dug the trench with the dirt, they set it to the side, laid a pipe in it, and then they put the dirt back on top of it.
Versus clay, that would have been.
Well, which is there's an abundance of clay in Hebron.
Nowadays, they put like sand.
Right, same,
Granular stone
Okay.
to support the pipe and around the pipe to protect it from the clay holding the moisture and everything against the outside.
When you do that.
And all it does is it just gives avenues for leaks to travel horizontally.
And hard to find.
At times hard to find, yeah, where you have to be a bloodhound.
So. Technically speaking, any kind of percentage of that. Would be small. If it's possible.
Minimal. There's 2 leaks right now that we have what are called, I call shut in. That are sections of main that have a leak. That are valved off, that don't serve water to anybody. One of them is right here at High Street, North High Street and North Street. Right in the middle of the intersection. That's gonna be a road closure to do. We're gonna do it this fall. The other one was down at Water Street and East Main Street. And that was just a few weeks ago. We were able to valve it off to where water quit leaking. In the meantime, it was right before the Pie Festival. And it's shut in, so it's not leaking, it's sealed off. To prevent it from continuing to leak till we can get it fixed. That answer your question? Very quickly, I'll go through the rest. The capital project that's ongoing right now, the water line and roadway improvements down on Maple, Broadway and Worcester Street. The status of it, I'm gonna call 60 to 65% complete. They've got all the main line in down Maple and Broadway. Today, the contractor performed the hydrostatic pressure test and it passed. 2 hours, it held 150 pounds of pressure. Perfect. I actually sent down one of the staff to help with flushing the chlorinated water that they actually put pellets in the main as they were connecting it and building the line. We filled it up last week, done the pressure test today. He went down with the contractor, they flushed it. We drew some chlorine residual samples, close to what we typically put out of the plant. So we grabbed the first total coliform sample, which is the micro test to make sure that we had sanitized everything today. And then there's that they're gonna pull tomorrow. Those both come back absent. The next step is they're gonna start tying homes into the new main line. So we'll keep it pressurized. They'll start tying the new homes in, the apartments back of Broadway. Next after that will be abandon the old infrastructure that's currently in place. Then they'll come back and put the tie-ins to all the Ts and all the streets where there's water mains that need to connect to for loop and the fire hydrants, and then will be done. They have laid probably 8 joints of pipe on Worcester Street, starting from the very dead end, and they're coming up towards Main Street. Which that's a shorter run. They'll have it together in no time. But there's gonna be 4 tie-in points off it and then a tap out on Main Street, so. Realistically, mid to late November, water line work could probably be done as long as weather cooperates. Can't speak much about the roadway side of it, but. I also put in here, I mean, timeline wise, it appears that the project's on schedule from the start date and what the engineers quoted as substantial completion, the duration of time, they're on schedule. As far as budget wise, there's been discussion about some field orders, nothing's been submitted. Um. Item B, this is the AMI, this is the meter reading system stuff. From what I understand, we have several customers this last billing cycle that are questioning high bills of usage. I know Chris, you've intercepted all of them. I haven't gotten hardly any. A little bit of email correspondence here and there, but this is the effect of the upgrade that we put in at the water plant, excuse me, the water plant. We put in a second gateway that is going to collect the meter readings from the radios. So in 2014, we did a complete meter changeout system, and it was called an R450 with Neptune. 10 years into it, Neptune came to Hebron and said, this system is obsolete, effective immediately. We weren't even through our full replacement warranty period. And it was because of the technical difficulties that they were having between the radios and getting the equipment to keep the collector units that were reading those types of radios. There was no availability. So you have what you have. Now, as a compromise, we want you to be a happy customer. We're gonna get you started with the new R900s. So we're migrating to the R900 style radios. This gateway that I'm talking about was installed at the water plant in place of the only working R450 collector that we had in operation. You guys follow what I'm saying so far? We took that unit down from the water plant for the new R900 gateway and then relocated it up at John Halford because we need to keep the 450 running because we're about halfway through upgrading all of our customer radios to the new R900s. That relocation period was 7 days. So there's 7 days of missing data from the radio, the old style radios that the old collector didn't pick up because it wasn't hooked up, powered up, activated, so on and so forth. When we went through and done the September process, the September billing cycle.
October bills for September usage.
Right, well, there was a few accounts that I noticed, remember me talking to you about
Yes,
that.
I'm sorry.
There was, I expected to see, I don't know, many meters that were going to be estimated because there was just no data available for it because the collector was being down. And surprisingly enough, there wasn't too many at all. Well, this last cycle, apparently, there was the way that the system Simtex is, it will only estimate meters that are sending invalid reads, missing reads, but it won't estimate meters that haven't been heard from. So what happens is the system automatically goes back to its last known read, which happened to be the 20th of the month. And to catch up, some customer bills, instead of them being 30 days, or 42 days, or 45 days. For the growing pains. I didn't have any idea that this was going to happen the way that it did. I expected the system to estimate it if it didn't see us asking for readings from the meter system in billing to do the processing of the cycle. So I don't know, I mean, do you have a sheet of many accounts? There are several.
Well, I have a sheet of all the work orders I've been doing and I have not been able to update with the ones that I've done probably today and part of the day yesterday. And I probably did about 10, was it yesterday, 10, and then a few more today, not as many today, thank goodness, because now I'm doing the water collecting, the trash collecting thing too. But it was 10, and then on top of how many, what do you think was on that spreadsheet I gave you, maybe 10 there,
10, 15, right,
10 to 15?
Yeah, so I guess the saving grace in the matter is, it's all going to work out. It's not,
Right.
we just need to make sure that we educate our customers that it's not a calculation error. It's a duration of time. It's a longer duration of time than what they're accustomed to seeing, which is why the usage is.
Next month, I'll be very happy with you.
So
Well,
last
next
month.
month it's gonna be lower. It's gonna be, yeah.
Because you're taking out.
Plus the new meters are reading high, so.
Yeah, well, they've already been technically billed for, or accounted for, right?
So then, to your point, it sounds like it's only a certain population,
Mhm.
it's not everyone that was impacted. Those that have the sensors
Yeah,
go
so
down.
15% of the 50 that haven't been upgraded, is that fair? I mean, I'm not really weighing the numbers, but
That'd be 30, it's 15 of.
I'm not good at math either, Mayor.
I just wanna say one thing. I know that you have actually been looking at the discrete bills. And what we discovered was when it's longer like that, sometimes it bumps people into the next bracket for sewer. And so when Chris is identifying that, she's going to be adjusting their bills appropriately so that it'll hold the residents harmless, so they won't have an inflated sewer bill for a month when that's really reflecting sewage that would have been the previous month.
Because of the minimum,
Yes,
yes.
yes, thank you.
Mhm.
I just, in case anybody watches this, I want them to know.
That's good, I mean, that's a fair point.
And I really appreciate you, Chris, doing that, because it
Thank you.
is important.
You would think you'd be able to just, okay, their bill in August was this much, you think it'd be close to that the following month there. Instead of going from $45 to $75, you know, that's a shock to a lot of people, you know?
See, that's where it's trouble aligning the roads. From my vantage point, I don't look at the monetary amount of somebody's bill. I'm looking at usage. I'm looking at how many thousands of gallons or how many tenths of gallons is used hour by hour to help the customer troubleshoot why their bill's high. The money side of it is very irrelevant to us in the field. Now, do we get customers that wanna know or that ask us questions about, you know, hey, why is my bill this high? It's usually $33 and it's 50 this time. I mean, we do our best to kind of help them, but I mean, we are focused on the usage of what's going through the meter in the field.
So the bottom line is that your new system is gonna wrangle that out or whatever.
It's gonna be indifferent. Yeah, it's gonna be more reliable. We're gonna be able to get more reliable hour by hour readings for every account. That's one of the problems with the old system is we're not getting each hour by hour reading for all the meters. It may go 2 weeks and give hour by hour readings, and then it may go another 2 days and miss 2 or 3 hours. Who knows why? I mean, I can't answer that. I don't understand how it can go to sleep and then wake back up on its own, you know? It's just until we can get everybody transitioned over to that 900 system. Collateral damage, I guess.
So everybody in the town's gonna be changed over to this?
Yeah, about 50% are done, maybe a little over 50% are already done.
Okay.
We started going around and just, if the radios are located on the outside and we don't have to, you know, interrupt the schedule of the homeowners, we just are going to do them and then, you know, letting the utility billing office know, hey, we changed this radio out.
And if
So
the
they
meter,
can system.
if the meter is inside the house, we had to just coordinate scheduling, those kind of things,
Yeah,
yeah.
so pretty much all the houses inside Lake Forest, are inside radio, so.
Go back to reading meters.
You volunteering?
I'll do it from home. Before winter gets here.
All right. I think it's probably enough, isn't it? You want me to keep going?
No.
I mean, you guys want to do it here? Go
So,
You've already been over an hour, so.
ahead, what?
so what Jason has shared with you, it also pointed out a couple of things that he is contemplating that will be continued in the next report of next year. So not just what he has done for the last 4 or 6 months, but what he is sharing with you, the thing that he will be doing next year.
The only other thing I got is on the water towers. Do we have to have them certified, inspected anytime soon, or is that every so many years,
Every 5 years,
5 years? I don't know.
we're probably due. We're probably getting due. We're not overdue.
Okay. I was just looking for something.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jason?
My reports used to be 6 and 8 pages long, and I talk half the time, do 2 pages, I'm talking here forever.
And that is the whole purpose of this, joint committee is that you will have the time to ask the question that you have.
Yeah.
Question, so he can answer those.
Yeah.
How long do you want to stay? I have a question.
Go ahead. Fire away, I'm ready.
I've been reading, probably in the last several months about fluoride.
Mhm.
That's starting to raise its head again.
Synthetic fluoride to be,
I don't know
Okay.
that. I don't know whether it's naturally formed or if it is, synthetic. I don't know. I don't think I even made the distinction when I was reading them.
Mhm.
Do you foresee keeping the mix as it is now, or removing fluoride? And I can understand that this house wants it, that house doesn't, so on and so forth. So what's your take on that?
Okay, so it's a great question. Did we talked
Yeah.
about this, didn't we? I thought we did. My stance on it is this, fluoride is naturally occurring in our groundwater source. I mean, we're close to 7.7 parts per million without any sort of supplemental fluoridation system. I mean, we're adding just very minor amounts of synthetic fluoride. It's actually called HFS, hydrofluorosilicic acid. My take on it is, I mean, it's the data points to it being a beneficial use for the health of your dental hygiene and your teeth, the enamel of your teeth. They say the tooth decay in folks from the 1920s, I mean, it was an absurd percentage of the amount of tooth decay decrease when they started adding fluoride to water. I'm kind of indifferent on it. I drink the tap water. That's why I'll know that. I mean, kind of a superintendent would I be if I don't drink the tap water I make, right? But I drink the tap water, and I think that the benefits outweigh the negatives until more scientific proof and evidence points to it being or causing other health related issues. Yeah, meaning that the benefit not outweighing the,
And
yes.
I was just curious because,
Yes.
things are cyclical, population gets another decade and they have to have all their questions, or they feel that certain things should not happen, and then you get these protests and it goes on and on.
Mhm.
So I don't know when fluoride's gonna.
It'd be interesting
It'll
to
come
know.
around. Come around.
It'll be interesting to know how many folks drink from the tap water that has a reverse osmosis system on it.
I would-
Because that's removing everything except for the molecules that make a drop of water,
Who knows?
Yeah,
Just curious.
it's a great question. Did I answer it?
Yeah, as well as we can answer it from who knows when it's gonna happen.
I will say as mayor, I drink our tap water at my house and
I
here,
do too.
yeah. So that's how confident I am at your work.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is pending legislation that will be coming to you at next week's meeting. The first item is ordinance number 17-25. An ordinance approving the plat of phase 1 of Hebron Landing subdivision and authorizing execution thereof upon compliance with development requirement. it will be a third reading. Ordinance number 1925, we do not have the specific language or title for that, and it's the creating the CIC. It will be a first reading, Community Improvement Corporation. Ordinance number 2025, which is the 2026 budget. We don't have the actual language for you as well, but it will be the first reading. Committee report. First up is the Public Works Committee. Pothole updates. I think several council members brought up the pothole issues last week. The Public Works has been working on filling the pothole on Refuge and High Street. And they ran out the coal patch. They have used about six tons since June. And they're waiting for another 5 tons next week from Licking County. And additionally, we are looking at a different material for the pothole right now. Because the Superintendent Ward went to a conference. And there might be some better alternatives that we need to explore. He has also tried to place some orders. At least we can explore the effectiveness of this new material. It's called the Aquafold. Thank you, Aquafold. So we should get that material in maybe next week. And we
Would
can
they come
start.
in bags or boxes or
Come in a 5-gallon bucket.
bucket?
Yes. Go ahead.
It's from my understanding, talking to Mr. Ward today, the material itself is pretty versatile, very well used, water activated, something that, to my understanding, also has a minimum lifespan of like 3 years. So it's a very, as I'm understanding, good product to be able to use in order to quickly resolve pothole issues and ultimately have a really sustainable patch. So.
Yeah, many years ago, they had so many different types. They had fiberglass in it. They tried this, they tried that, and none of them held up to potholes.
Yes, we also look at, because right now we're using the coal patch, it doesn't last long.
Right.
So we're looking at reaching out to the different municipalities around us to see if they have firebox. So we can have hot mix.
Boxes where they,
And because, hot mix works longer and more durable,
yeah,
but we just don't have that equipment.
right,
So I have asked Superintendent Ward to contact either New York or Heath to
right.
see if they have the hot box that we can utilize.
This new patch, does it expand?
Don't know on that point, I just, as I understood it, it being water activated, more versatile, and then the material itself is able to be driven on pretty quickly, from what I understood.
Yeah.
It's gaining popularity from what Superintendent Ward had explained to me, so it's one of those things that I think more information that he could convey on that point, but from what he had explained to me, it does sound interesting. It sounds like a viable and versatile option.
And price wise, is it? Nobody knows how much it.
I don't have that information, but I think he did just request a PO for that. It's $1,500. I don't know the quantity that it's going to get.
That makes a difference.
But if it lasts 2 or 3 times longer, I mean.
The average is about at least 3 years. Some of the patches that he was informed that's still available after 10 years. So we'll find out. The other part is that right now they have continued to work on the refuge, and then next one, the South High Street, and then we're looking at testing that material out in Arrowhead. Because we have some cracks and pollen arrowheads. Let's just try it out. If it works well, maybe we can use it on a 79. So.
I view the same thing with
Yeah.
Aquafold. I think as Superintendent Ward, if it is used, and it could be something to test and see how well and how viable it is for different solutions that are needed for potholes. If it serves well, I would say we keep using it. Now, and then I'm sure Superintendent Ward and Mr. Chen will be able to inform and say, we need to go in a different direction.
Right. So right now, we're looking at different options right now. Reaching out to Heath or New York to see if we can borrow their hot box.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's all the report I have, unless council have any questions.
I do, on the mowing contract you have,
Yes,
uh. Are we, the public works, going to actually clean up the bypass now? Because it looks terrible, or are you just gonna let the first person that gets a contract clean it up? I mean, you got tree limbs and you got trees and you got, you name it, it's on
Yes.
the
Are we
fencing.
putting the fence line?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
and then a lot of the trees, are actually trees that are on in the median, or, yeah, I guess you call it the median between. There's little trees that need just cut off
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of that.
yeah.
I mean, that whole thing needs cleaned up and then start from day one. You guys take it from here.
and I will give you the information, but my preference is the public works just go ahead and take care of that for now. But let me find out from Superintendent Ward to see what his thought process might be.
Okay.
Like I said, my preference, let's just take care of that now. Start from ground zero.
Yeah, that way get everything cleaned
Absolutely.
up. This is how we want
It's
it.
quite,
If you're done.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all.
And finance committee. Okay. We're gonna have a budget hearing, next week. Economic Development Committee. Police Committee, water, wastewater,
He talked long.
yeah, been the last time.
Yeah, fell asleep over there.
Personnel Committee. Nothing, are there any other topics the council would like to discuss?
Only one other thing, when we turn around on the bypass, it goes to the bypass. CJ ought to mark out what needs to be done and what don't need to be done, because out at the industrial park, when you come from or not Enterprise, but the other roadway,
Neil?
coming back this way, we always brush hog it.
Okay,
I mean, there's certain areas down through there that we did, unless they're planning on having whoever owns it take care of it.
yeah, because, on the east side,
It's a state right away, so.
yes, east side of the 79 bypass, it's just south of Neil, it's in the township.
Okay, yeah, right,
Yeah.
from the gas station on.
It's correct. So between. Yes, I will talk to CJ about that, yes.
But we used to brush hog it too from the railroad tracks, just to the corporation and we
Okay.
stopped.
Okay,
Some of the litter has to be picked up before you brush hog it.
Yeah,
yes. And that's what it's, based on the contract that it needs to be picked up.
Yeah.
Yes,
More than what is currently being done, because the other day I was out there and it was pretty full. Pretty good.
understand.
I'm sorry, the 79 on the east side, all the way from the railroad tracks down to just shy of Enterprise is in the township,
Yeah.
but we do the,
We've done it for years and years and years and years, as long as I know.
well,
Just-
maybe
just-
they should
just-
do it for the.
You make
next
3
year's-
passes, you make 3 passes.
I know, but my point is, that's money and time.
May I weigh in? I believe that there's water line easement and all of our fire hydrants are on that side
Side
of
of
the
it.
line.
Correct.
Understood.
That's a,
Cause we always mowed it and then turn around, we weeded around the fire hydrants 10 foot, so.
That's in the township down through there?
Yeah.
From the gas station north.
Oh, no.
South,
No,
South,
it's not-
yes.
Yeah, okay. Now I see what you're saying, okay, what I thought. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. No, I see what you're saying now.
From the railroad tracks
South,
south.
Yeah.
All the way to the
Okay.
building on your right, just after Enterprise. So that very first building that we see is that right of way is still in the village of Hebron, but right after that, everything up through there, Transcendia, all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, as long as it brings value to the village, but my concern is just, it's
Well,
one
that's
thing
why-
that we're paying for them.
Well, that's why we, years ago, they tried to get them to anything in that area, whoever was doing the contract would take care of. And then it changed over from one thing, next thing you know, we're doing. it. So,
That's why the contracts stipulate between corporate line.
yeah,
Yeah. Any other topics? Yes,
Oh, since the library is going to be vacated, are there any preliminary discussions on, rearrangement, shall we say, how to use that, facility when it is vacated? And what will be like a time frame? And I know all those are subject to revision 100 times, I understand that. But I'm sure that somewhere in this world, there's been conversation about that.
So the executive leadership team has been in discussion about it. Certainly CFO Morgan has been thinking about fiscally how that plays out. Mr. Chen has been working through, how our team might participate in doing that. Also, Director Meisner is very interested in perhaps not being located in a closet any longer. So we're trying to figure out what we might design in a way that might be attractive to council, that you would support. We're interested in, creating space over there that would eventually be a welcoming space from an economic development perspective, and perhaps have
Yeah.
a more accessible and attractive, probably more spacious even, conference room.
I've always kind of objected to having to waltz these people through till they go right into the guts of the building, you know, there doesn't seem to be. An area where there is a reception, and off the
Exactly.
reception area, you go over here. This arrangement is really not very satisfactory in my opinion. When you're bringing in brass from someplace who might be at the throttle of several $1 million. It just, and I'm sure there are communities that would like to have this building, but since that opportunity is sitting there, I think that it's a real, could be a showcase.
The other concept that I'm hoping council will entertain is using part of that space for some period of time for the historical society. It would allow us to showcase a lot of the history of the village. We could work with them on displays, and it could really help our residents know more about our history as well.
Not only that, if there's going to be some kind of renovation, that we could swipe a few square feet from that lobby, which is larger than most people's houses. You know, that's a big waste space in my opinion. It's nice, but it's not very practical. It doesn't return the investment that's in it.
we would do some preliminary analysis, what the space can be, how the space can be utilized more optimal. Any other?
Oh, for me, no.
Okay. Any more visitor comments? Okay. Can I have the motion to adjourn today's
Yes.
meeting? We have a motion made by Councilmember Porter,
Seconded.
second by Councilmember Juno Valley. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Gina.
Yes. Close enough. Close enough.
No, Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
yes.
Mrs. Chapman. Yes. Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.